Ah, okay. Welcome again.
At least I had a good time out thereafter, and they did some resting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Ndugwa Call.
Yes. Asante sana.
Thank you so much. How has it been for you?
Well, I think so far so good.
Because you've also been moving here back to our studio, radio studios, then forth and back and forth and back and all the things.
Yeah, that's true.
I will start with you. Just looking at the picture and what is happening. When you look at that map, the map of what is actually turning out, the map is painted yellow and red.
Yeah.
Blue has eventually faded out, and we just do not know. Green has disappeared from anything that we can even talk about.
Well, just looking at the map, really, that shows exactly what we should expect at the end of the whole thing. But as I've always told people that this is a competition where it is a game of numbers. Yes, it's a game of numbers. You need to know who is winning where and how. And this also, maybe it can take us back to 1980. You know, there are some people who say that I think the 1980 elections, perhaps there was no rigging, as they say, because ideally already people in the central are over celebrating, when actually when you look at the map, it's giving a different story. But also from this particular map, we also see that NUP is coming to it into the strongholds of FDC and DP.
Yeah. Just like Professor Badiamre has actually talked about it here, what do you think is changing? Because in 2018, when Bobi Wine had an interview about political parties, he said political parties are very divisive. We do not need them. We need a movement that can just rally people, a movement where you come, whether you are this religion, that tribe, that political party, this wave should actually be something to embrace. And midway the journey, he actually did a U-turn and said it can't be this. It should be a political party. What would it have been had it not turned into the National Unity Platform and just stayed as people power, where you would see everybody now coming and saying, I am FDC people power, I am DP people power, I am UPC people power. What would be the outcome of this result? I call still with you.
Well, I think midway he was hit by reality, because even from the results so far, the results are showing that Ugandans have faith in political parties, because you look at the first being NRM, NUP, FDC, DP, and then ANT. So you even find that independents are actually trailing and badly. Now this takes us to 19...
The top 5 in the lead are all political parties.
It takes us back to 2016, where you saying that even the person of Amama Mbabazi, who was at one time a super minister, prime minister, SG, but when he came out and he did not show signs of forming a party or defecting to a major party, you saw actually, in other words, even the performance was actually not that. So I think really he has learned from that. But also secondly, why forming a political party has helped him. In other words, he has managed to identify who exactly is with him and who is not, and that is how now he is going to build his political base. That is, if he is to have a future in the politics of Uganda. But also the other thing that we also need to understand is that if he had just left it as a wave, I mean, as
a pressure group,
it would, I think, have costed him, because now it means that even actually during that time we even had people we had NRM members who are saying, I'm NRM but I'm people power. You see, so that means even you'd actually some NRM would even win in places where he has won. So that is how it has managed to help him, and indeed, if he has a future in the politics of Uganda, it means now he's going to use that as a base, build a party, and and he should use that to expand to other regions, because so far NUP is portraying itself as a Buganda, not actually a central region, but as a Buganda outfit. So he needs to go beyond that, so that we can see him getting seats in the north, seats in the east, maybe seats in the west.
Should we think that, Ndugu Mutita, to you now, that the FDC had actually come in to usurp DP from Buganda? Because there was a time here when the DP had 9 candidates and 9 members of parliament, and all of them were coming from Buganda. Nobody was actually coming out of Buganda. And it was looked at as a regional outfit that couldn't go beyond the borders of Buganda. And when the FDC came in, the FDC, of course, took over much of what was DP's, but it also managed to spread across the country. It had fillers in West Nile, it had fillers in northern Uganda, it had very good standing in Acholi, Lango, and you know, in Teso sub-region where they were actually very entrenched. You go to Elgon area, you go to Kasese, and FDC was actually there. You could see it mirrored across the country. Do you think NUP has actually come back to reclaim that Buganda glory of the Democratic Party, which now seems to be an endangered species?
But at the same time, it also endangers the NUP group. Because you now need to graduate, to move out of the Buganda shell. That you are not going to be a Uganda factor only. You need to have, like I put it, to have presence in the rest of the regions, because you know there is no single social grouping in tribal grouping in this country that can win an election. You cannot win because you belong to a particular group, whether you are Muganda or you're from Western or from Eastern or from Northern. No group is big enough to win an election in Uganda. But at the same time, NUP galvanizes its efforts around the weaknesses of FDC. Like FDC had also moved on the DP in Uganda, but also for it had moved even further to get other places. And you know, from day one when FDC started, it had a dynamic leader, but also had the legislators who were actually, you could look at individuals and you know these are leaders. You talk of the Nandalas, talk of the Alasos, talk of the Musum. You know, these people present themselves as a group of legislators and leaders who you would think were bent on taking the leadership in this country. Poor management of the political party and the individual interests tore apart that party. And I have all the belief that FDC may not make it back, because it's not going to have those people who left back into its flow, and it's not going to be easy for it to regroup and recruit more dynamic leaders like it were. Now, because of that void, now NUP finds a vacuum and fills it so well. But now they have a bigger task of now moving from there into to have a national outlook, that they have the presence in Eastern, they have a presence in Western, they have a presence in Northern, so that you can easily compete with the movement. Because as you can look at the map, the movement is all over. There is no place that you see it is stronger here or it is weaker here. Even where NUP has taken, still the movement is there. They may be having leaders who may have not been strong enough to win an election, but doesn't mean they are not there. Of course, I know NUP also has some people outside that area, in my Ubudud and others, but they may not be as much and reliable as of now. So there is that challenge, which is also a chance that the NUP has a chance now to move across beyond where they have reached today. But the issue of FDC and now DP, because these two political parties and now partly UPC, is because of the management, the internal democracies of those political parties that have split those political parties. You know what is happening in the UPC. you have, I think, a number of presidents. This one is the chairman, this one is now, the court has to decide on this. Then with the now FDC, you have the factions. When he was the leader of opposition, when Nandala was a leader of opposition, when Professor Latigo was a leader of opposition, you could look at individuals who are not only strong politicians, but also measuring up to statesmanship or stateswomanship. That these people would take certain decisions, not because of the interest of their political party, but also for the bigger picture of this country. Okay. And that picture has fizzled out a bit to, I mean, this lady, the current leader of opposition, I know she's a good person. Yes. But not a lot is known about her. So,
like Professor Mariam said, yeah, she's a very good teacher, and you know, nobody knows she's even the leader of opposition.
Exactly.
Actually, some people still think that maybe the leader of opposition is Winnie Kiza, who hasn't been there for some time now. Okay, well, that's very important. Now, just looking at the FDC, because I'm looking at the FDC, a party that has been here and a party that has been a force to reckon with. 16 or 15 years later, from when it actually formed and became that party, there was a wave here. The wave that we see with the umbrella was a wave that was with the key. Sometime, and people love to identify with a key. They knew that if I go on the ballot paper and I have a key, then it will be very clear for me that I'm actually sailing through and making it to Parliament or to the council or elsewhere. And that was the wave at the time. Let's look at a candidate like Nabira Nagai Sempala for Kampala mayor. Now, with the umbrella, and the 3 times that she came under the key, it was, she was sailing through, and good for her. A party like the FDC, with the man at the helm, Dr. Kiza Besje, from Dr. Kiza Besje, it goes to Mugisha Muntu. From Mugisha Muntu, it comes to Patrick Amneto Boy. And Mugisha Muntu kept emphasizing and said, let's not posture. Let us build structures. We can only take over government if we build structures. Look at what is happening today. We need to use that as a benchmark to look at Mugisha Muntu's reign at the FDC. Did it do enough? Did they build any structures in there? What happened to the structures? What happened to, and what would it be like had he stayed there and actually not gone out? If that election, as it ended, Mugisha Muntu had decided to say, okay, I lose the election, I concede, but let me stay in the party and continue. Would it have been any different from what we are actually seeing today?
Well, I think the difference would be minimal. Yeah, because I just want to show you, to give you examples on the continent where people have walked away from parties. And when they are strong, equally that strength is portrayed wherever they go. So if really Mugisha Muntu had built the structures he's actually saying that he has built, I think it would be now, we would be seeing it in this election, that he would be having candidates all over. He would be having candidates all over, and even his performance, would be seeing it through his performance. In the 70s, when they were fighting Idi Amin, we find that we had the Chikosi Malum and we had the Fronasa. So everywhere the Fronasa that is led by Museveni, they left structures there. That even after 1980, when he was not satisfied and went back to the bush, it was easier for him because he already had structures that helped him. He had already, it was easier for him. So with Mugisha Muntu, really, if I think it was more rhetoric than practical. But if it was really, really practical. Now look at in 2002, 2002, when Odinga joins KANU, invited by President Mwai Kibaki. He dissolved his party, he joins KANU, he's made the Secretary General. But when he disagreed and broke away, you see that he broke away with his structure. And that is what disorganized KANU. These are some of the issues that we have to look at, that every other time you have the structures and you break away, then you always have your... towards independence, most African countries had parties, but whenever one would break out and had structures, they would go with their structures, and you'd see that playing out in elections. So I feel that yes, Mugisha Muntu's call for building structures was spot on, but the only unfortunate part of it is that he was just saying it out, but he wasn't doing it as that. But also in this particular election, we are seeing NUP dislodging FDC and DP. You know, also voters are not known to be patient. That if they try you 3 times and they see there are no results, then they may shop around to see who exactly can help us. That's why you see now there is a shift in voting in northern Uganda, because in 1996 they tried Paul Kawanga Semogerere.
Exactly.
It didn't. In 2001 they tried Kizza Besigye. It didn't. In actually, I think up to
2001, 2006,
up to
then 2011.
No, up 2011.
2011 they
Yes.
gave it to Mao.
Yes.
2016 Mao presents Mbabazi.
But they voted for.
They voted for Besigye, exactly.
So I think I think now really let's go with the winning team. So that is how people are. And what is happening in northern Uganda, I think this is what is happening with the Luo nation generally, because the Luo nation throughout has always been in opposition, and now you see they are trying to get back to government through the back door. In Kenya, through the handshake. Now in Uganda, I think they say, look, here, enough is enough. We can play ball with the ruling party and see also how we gain, our people benefit, rather than every other time being used to vote against the government.
Do we consider some of these things, especially when we are coming into working together? In 2013, the election that was in Kenya, having written the new constitution of 2010, you remember there was the National Alliance, the TNA of Uhuru Kenyatta Muigai, and the Jubilee party of the URP rather of Samoei Ruto, which of course came with an alliance, the Jubilee Alliance, which metamorphosized into now the Jubilee Party. Now you could tell that Ruto is coming on board with something. Kenyatta has got something. Now these two principles, look at them and say, yes, you have this that you're bringing on, I have this that I'm bringing on, and it is where we are. And of course they had a very good election in 2013. They of course cemented that relationship and pushed it further to 2017. Now when it comes back here, look at the FDC, the Vanguard Party. Time came, and when Kizza Besigye lost the election in 2016, he said, I've won the election. I am going to swear in myself, and I'm also going to put up my own government. Now he created a virtual government called the People's Government. In the People's Government, he chose cabinet. And he looked around and didn't find anybody from the FDC to make his vice president. He got a vice president from somewhere else, and that's Elias Lukwago. Then, of course, went on picking here and there, Betty Numbers from DP, the government spokesperson, and Minister of Information or whatever that was. And no, he actually lived in virtual space with his government there. And it brought this man to a level, Elias Lukwago, of I think saying, what do I do? Now Elias Lukwago was not more of a mayor of Kampala, but more of a handler or an escort, a personal assistant to Dr. Kizza Besigye. Time came when Dr. Kizza Besigye's decision was hazy. We didn't know whether he was going to contest in the election. Nobody knew that. And of course we expected that maybe he's going to pull the last stunt. Everybody waited. The people who love Kizza Besigye in the party pushed him and said, don't disappoint us. Now until the last moment, they bring on Elias Lukwago to go and get a card.
Yes.
So when we all saw Elias Lukwago go to Najana Nkombi to pick membership, we thought maybe the president, quote unquote, wants to cede it to the vice president, and we'll see what happens. So he picks it and he says, well, everybody now knows it's a public secret. I am FDC. When it came to presidential, then again saw Amriat come on, taking on Ambassador Birigwa. Then everybody said, what's the problem? Then the other day he says, I am coming back as mayor of Kampala. This time round with a political party called the FDC. What did Lukwago take with him at the FDC? And don't you think Lukwago Mtuta is actually regretting now that he chose to go to the FDC, which is now being eaten away by a young party called the NUP?
I normally talk to my friends in the medical world to learn a few things. Now there's this particular one. They tell me that when a woman is of productive age and does not conceive and give birth, the placenta behaves in a way that it wants to have a baby, and because there is no baby, then it begins behaving like it has a baby, and then it grows fibroids. Now I think that's what is happening in the FDC, that it has grown fibroids because of the unpredictableness of its activities. Yes,
and the leaders. Because
you can't now know, and that is very bad in politics, that politics is about predictability, that you know that after this one we are likely to have this face, and after this one. But Amriyat comes in because, you know, by that time people are looking at people before they finally broke off. They are looking after Muntu. They are looking at people like, and she had come out so well, Winnie. They are looking like maybe Winnie, maybe someone who is coming in that order. Then you see a different person coming in, least expected. But at the same time, I think Lukwago also went a bit down, because as a mayor, there was no. You remember when they started the stunts in Kampala, you would hear the mayor and the vestiges have gone downtown, and there is chaos because they have gone. Then they are saying that they have gone to have food in Owino market, or something like that, so that they reduced a party to an activist club. That whenever you want to do something, you will have to go wrestle around with the police, or do something and indeed, because you remember when now NOP starts coming in and getting attention of the media, then you also see FDC trying to create a parallel activity so that they can also be talked about. So I think that to a greater extent affected the party and its plans. But like I said, sometimes you can also claim, you know, there is a party making someone, but there's also someone making a party. And if FDC had, and which was a good plan of building structures, if indeed Mr. Mugisha was committed to helping FDC build these structures so that they are felt on ground from that from the villages into Kampala. The problem comes in, like he said, when he walks away and then you cannot even see a structure for himself alone, then it means that structure, the structure thing was never meant to be. Or if it was a plan, then someone said, if we put it in FDC, we are going to make FDC a strong party. In other words, there was already a plan to break off, so there was no need to help this party to be strong, which was also selfish. And we have seen this play out. You remember when they had elections of the Secretary General Nandala versus someone, that also became an issue. And people were saying, that's when they started this issue of, I think this man is a mole, because they thought he was being funded by government to disorganize the party. And that theory has never been explained, or has not ever been exhausted. No, this man was not a mole, or he was a mole. Now, that could not build a political party. A political party is built on trust. A political party is built on reliable leadership, and a political party is built on financial capacity to facilitate its activities. Now, most of these things were missing in the party, and we have seen some of these political party members saying, "I have been doing this. I've been using my money. I've been using my own efforts, and why should I be this?" And we have seen some of them now moving. The other time, was I being told? Or was I reading that this lady Ingrid finally saw the light? So if people are going to be so much so that, like one said yesterday, looking for building CV so that someone can buy in, then you know that party is headed for destruction. Okay. He was talking about the Kenyan experience when Raila left, and it's like he left with the whole party. Yeah. The alliance, actually, more or less, the party collapsed. But you know, there are also other leaders who could do, like you remember Matiba, when he left DP, and then when they thought that he could now form a strong political party on their own, and they failed. Sometimes dynamic leaders and good leaders are few. Okay. A person who can call shots even when it's outside the arrangement, there are few. Okay. Like Raila indeed has played his game, that whenever he has been, he has a following. Naturally, you will find people following him. Okay. And that no wonder there was a handshake, because the other side government realizes that actually without this guy we can now not move. But in Uganda here, there are very few people who, for example, the movement can say, if we got this man back in the movement, we can do wonders. There are very few, because most of them are only there to look for survival, and once they achieve what they want, then they fizzle out.
Okay, well, greetings to all of you here from Mama Nkanji, Mama Mayanja Nkanji. She loves the discussion. She says greetings to all of you here. Mama Nkanji, we send you greetings. Thank you so much for being part of what is happening here. And of course, she's following what is happening. And just as we continue to wait, we just want to promise you that the word that is coming from the National Talent Center in Chambogo from the Electoral Commission is that at 5 o'clock, we expect another provisional announcement that will come through to us. Now remember, what has come in so far, or what has been declared to us, is only 34% of everything in there. And the statistics right now show from the fourth presidential provisional results, putting President Museveni at 65% with 2.2 million votes in there. And of course, candidate Chagani Sentamu of the National Unity Platform on 27.56%, which translates into 941,000. Of course, coming number 3 right now, as everything stands, is the FDC of Patrick Amuriat Oboy with 3.46% at 118,000 votes in there. Then, of course, number 4 is another. I don't think Yakole comes in as number 4, but no. Well, Katumba Oye just right there with 0.36%. That's 12,000 votes, meaning yes, the people that gave him signatures to go and nominate have actually turned back. Finally, finally, they are back. Those who actually gave him signatures to go and nominate are back. You know, with some bang and some bigger majority, because that's all he needed. He needed actually less than that to go and nominate. Yeah, and so if he gets that. 10,000. He needed 10,000, yeah. And so if he has that, then sympathy of 2. William Mayambala still has a deficit. William Mayambala still has a deficit, because these are not even the people who nominated. These are not the people even who sent him the signatures. Yeah. So we're still questioning him until we find where he got the signatures. But that's where he is. He needs another about 300 plus votes to actually get there. And Nancy Kalembe has also pulled back the people who sent her to the Electoral Commission to nominate with admission 56. At 0.5%. To me, Nancy is one of those big disappointments, because I did not expect that she would actually perform just like that. Well, let's see what happens. No, but now I think he should never return. He should never return.
No, he's not returning, because he promised. He
should just never return. He should now even actually give in the party. He should give the party to somebody. At 0.75%, you wouldn't expect no, but now to actually get there. And unfortunately, he might actually not even bring back the members of parliament, those that he has had. When they were actually asking him for his a track record for the years that he's actually been there. He said, I got 8 or 9 and I managed to bring another 7. So that was his achievement. Now, if you brought 7 and you've taken back the 7, then it will be bad for you. Dishamuntu here, Greg, also another disappointment. Now, somebody sent me a message to say, why are you putting on a purple tie for the ANT? Now, when I was putting on my tie, I only just looked into my wardrobe and I just decided to dress like that. I didn't think this would mean ANT or whatever, but my tie was here with me before Mugisha Munt formed this political party, but it is where we are. So Mugisha Munt there are 22,000 votes, 23,000 votes, translating into 0.69%. And another disappointment here, General Tumukunde Kakurugu, not yet raising 1%, and the long way to go by to raise 1% from these elections is not something very simple. At 20,000, and everybody thought and knew that me being a security chief, a man was there, he had maybe all the tactics and techniques. Even when you say that they didn't have enough time to do the campaigns, but men like Tumukunde, who was security minister, he knew the corners of the country. He was everywhere, so he would actually
the network
and the networks exactly. But his networks are now translating into so far those results. Now. To the pastor. To the pastor. We do not know whether the prophet said the right things to the pastor, but from the prophecies that we see, 0.58% with just 19,000, we will miss the financial liberation because he had promised to put some money in our pockets, and Ugandans must have denied that, must have said, no, you're not being realistic. How are you going to put money in our pockets? Even Patrick in studios here was asking, but really, how will somebody put money in people's pockets? So people have said, no, don't put money in our pockets. We need something different. Another pastor from Entebbe, Pastor Fred Mwesige, with God's love and his philosophy there. I think people have not loved love now. They will love some other time possibly. But he's there trailing also with a 0.3% and translating into 10,000. Pastor Fred Mwesige has also pulled back the signatures that took him to electoral commission because that's all he needed. And anything that comes out of that or after that or beyond that will just be an addition to him. And
from
of course,
his church, from the relatives.
Exactly. so it will be something to I thank the Lord God for because he's also put it up there. And of course, now those are they. We'll wait to see what comes on next. In the next few minutes, we expect Justice Byabakama Mjenyi to speak to us, and that's what it is. Now, let's come back to the National Resistance Movement and their performance in Kampala, for example. Now, Kampala was not NRM this outgoing term. Kampala was predominantly FDC. Yeah. Now, there were 9 slots. There are now 10 slots. There were 9 slots where you had Nabira, you had Kasozi, you had Kawaziguruka, you had Alan Sewanyana, you had Kasibante, you had Katolubwama, you had Munyagwa, and Latif, the other side. Now, these have actually been replaced by from Munyagwa to Bashir, from Latif to Segirinya, from my friend Moses Kasibante to Abubeka Kawalia, from Katolubwama. This time they've rejected his plea. Lulina Lianze, come on, pay and then they say, no. Lulibu Obawalia, you ate what is enough for you, so please stay out of these things. And so on and so forth. Now, NUP has taken over, but there was a breed here, or a crop of young politicians, the likes of Nyakana. There was a time of the Uhurus, there was a time of the seminars, there was a time of those young NRM thugs, actually those that brought Muhammad Nsereko for the first time. Where did they go, and what are they doing in comparison to the Balam Barugahar of today, to the Busherman of today? Compare them to full figure Nakangubi, to Catherine Kusasira, Basajja Mivule, and Bajo events, and all sorts of anything in this country, Banangi. Alcohol.
Well, I think before we get that to we get to NRM in Kampala, I just wanted to comment on the generals we have in the election. Yeah, because the two generals we have in these elections have actually proved to Ugandans, because there's one analyst. They are nothing. So this is what actually is being portrayed, that most of them derive power and strength from him. That every other time they part ways from him, then they really discover that actually
they need him.
They need him. So this is what is actually being reflected in this election. But let's get to what the issue of NRM in Kampala. I think the biggest undoing of NRM in Kampala has been not getting the right people to really talk to the people, and every other time failing to understand the changing dynamics within the city. Yeah, because basically not only that, but also not grooming a particular team. Because when you look at the opposition, these are people that have been within the ranks of the opposition. They just change colors from blue to green. From green you get. So and NRM has had a system of not empowering their own cadres within. That some of them end up disgruntled and eventually they don't work for the party. Then the other issue is the love for money, definitely, because in the opposition, actually I believe people really are passionate about what they're doing. People come out in large numbers to vote passionately without being pushed by money. But again, in NRM, it's the question of, am I being facilitated? So this is something that is also denying them realistic chances of really winning in the city. But also lastly is failing to, NRM has mastered the politics of the youth in their structures. That's what they have mastered. But generally, the youth in urban centers are still a headache to the system, and I believe now they should sit down and work on that. Why is it that when it comes to the youth structures, they easily win them, but when it comes to now the majority of the youth participating in an election to vote for a particular cause, then they get it wrong?
Ndugu Mtuta, before picking your mind on the issues of Kampala, let's have an update from Kampala's divisions and see some of these who are leading, including Mohamed Nsereko from Kampala Central and NUP's Joel Senyonyi Besekezi in Nekawa East. But remember very well that what we tell you is not conclusive until the Electoral Commission ascertains and announces to us. We are only giving you provisional results of what is happening, but the Electoral Commission will give us the conclusive remarks that they ascertain. We'll go to Sharon Chomjisha, our reporter, to also tell us what is happening in Kampala. Sharon.
The Tally Center is for the 5 divisions in Kampala district, which include Rubaga division, Machinde division, Nakawa division, Kampala Central, Kawempe division as well. From Nakawa East, we've had Balimwezo Ronald taking a lead in this very election. He was there was a tight competition between him and Honorable Hindi and Baziguruka. Well, he still tops up until we find out what the declaration is going to be from this place. In Nakawa West, we had Joel Senyonyi with a huge margin taking over, and he had also a tight competition between him and Ziwa Margaret, who actually made allegations and said that she doesn't think she has lost. She still wants to sort out a few things, and she believes that some of her DR forms haven't yet brought. She also said that some of the electorates that were supposed to vote for her were actually scared off by certain people and beaten. So we are waiting to see what happens also when the results are declared. From Kampala Central, we had Mohammed Nsereko also taking a lead, and he was tussling it out with Cedric Babu, who also complained that some of his DR forms hadn't yet come, but he believes that he still stands a chance and there might be a change. Well, they will prove us wrong once the declarations are made. Now, Nyanzi Fred, who is also a National Unity Platform flag bearer, was also came up as a second runner-up actually, and he also had a huge margin. And for Rubaga, we have Rubaga North and Rubaga South, and in Rubaga North, Abu Beka Kawalia, who is the National Unity Platform flag bearer, leads beating Honorable Betty Kamya, who was standing against him. In Rubaga South, we had Aloysius Mukasa, who is also a National Unity Platform flag bearer, winning Nasolo UN Winnie, and so many others that were in the race. It has been quite a very, very competitive race for so many of these, and some of these actually that were competing have actually been in the race before and have held certain positions in parliament before. Now in Kawempe, we had Kawempe South, where Segirinya, a National Unity Platform as well, took a lead, and in the north, Kaziwe Bashir, who is new in the political arena, who also tussled it out with Munyagwa Mugatigwa, but as he's commonly known. If you actually look through the results and everything, it just tells you that the National Unity Platform is actually taking lead, and it is taking over Kampala Central. It is taking over Kampala District. In Machindia West, of course, the incumbent, Alan Sewanyana, with a huge margin as well, won the elections, and we're waiting for the declaration that will be made by the EC, and he was tussling it out against Farouk Ntege. There was a huge margin, and as we all know, he's kind of a stronghold in Machindia West, where he's known and very popular, and so many people love him. In Machindia East, Nyeko Derek, a National Unity Platform as well, flag bearer, was leading with a sharp margin against Owob Sinje Elijah. There was a very tight competition here.
Okay, thank you so much, Sharon Chomjisham, at the EC, of course at the Tale Center in Kampala, for the Kampala divisions, just right there, and very good revelations here. Sentamu Nyanzi, Chairman Nyanzi, what do you think he will think of film if he doesn't win? I'm only looking at that because someday Yakole came and did an interview and said, we are looking to be, or we are striving to be the biggest in the opposition. Yes. Now, as his brother was looking for the presidential vote, he was actually saying we want to be the leaders in opposition. Yes. And that's it. Now, if Chagani Sentamu doesn't win the presidency, and Sentamu Nyanzi doesn't win the MP seat, let's just look at this. Yes, the party has gone through, but Chagani is no longer member of parliament, not president. The brother is not member of parliament, but you paved way for Segirinya, Abubeka, Kasivante, and rather not Kasivante, but all the others, Mututa.
But even then, you know, there were issues of flag bearers in the NUP, how people were getting nominated for flagship. And I think he was one of those who were considered problematic, because at one point, yes, because some people were like, no, I think we need to have another person. Why should it be a brother? Can't we have some other person who will be able to sell in Kampala? But also, I think the proponents of that were also aware of the person they were going to contest against. Because the Nsereko has been a strong opposition leader, because sometimes he has created around him a mystery to easily calculate his political understanding and his maneuvers. Yes, because he has been accused of also being a mole in the opposition, as being too close to the movement. But at the same time, the people of the movement actually talking about why the youth in Kampala are running away from the movement. He's one of them, because these are people who are brought in politics through the movement, the youth structures, and finally he finds himself on the edge from the movement. So I think that miscalculation was also made by NOP, that they needed someone who was around with the same strength or more, because the umbrella movement has been popular, but also the individual merit is still key in our political arrangement. That you need to have a stronger person, a person who can sell even when he's in a stronger party, to be able to get the vote at the end of the day.
Won't just be able to call the shots when he's not in parliament, but they have the majority from the opposition. Won't he be able to call those shots and determine the trends in there?
Well, I think Nyanzi still is in that position because he's seen as the right-hand man of Bobi Wine, of the brother. Yeah, but as really you said, of course, I don't see the Chagani family benefiting from this, because even his brother Eddie Awe lost the card for Kira during the vetting. Yeah, and you remember when we had the Sevagala, his brother Latif Yahaja Lagida, and he went through that wave. Yes, and he was elected to parliament. But also that said, I also think that when it comes to Kampala Central, the issue of religion here comes out. Yes, the Kampala Central, because ideally the Muslim factor plays key here. Because I remember in one of the discussions, in one of the discussions, I was told that when they are choosing the flag bearer for Kampala Lord Mayor, that is NUP. And yes, Chameleon was there. They said, okay, fine, is he popular? They say, yes, he's popular. But what is his religion? He's a Catholic.
So he's Catholic, yes, he's Catholic, and name recognition.
Yes,
because name recognition, they knew Jose Chameleon, but not Joseph Mayanja.
Joseph Mayanja. So eventually said, they settled for Sevagala. That even when Latif Sevagala declined, and Chameleon was still ready for the ticket, they went for Nabila, who is the Muslim.
Who was struggling to also pick one from the FDC, because she also kept being bounced at the FDC.
So I think really that also, the religion factor plays in Kampala, that before you pick on somebody, you have to look at that. And I just want to, I remember in 1996, Muhammad Chibirige Mayanja, when he really contested, in the whole country, he won at one polling station. That is Mpondo Primary School. And why he won at that Mpondo Primary School is that when it was time for campaign, he came on a Friday, and he went to the mosque, prayed with them, and he said, oh, and actually around that place, the mosque is just near that polling station. And that is how he won that polling station. So these are some of the issues that really we must never undermine, that whereas you may look at the wave, but there are also other considerations that we have also to bring on board. So I just imagine that if NUP had perhaps picked on a Muslim in Kampala Central, I think perhaps the results maybe could have been different.
How about looking at Kampala now and the Kampala of that time? Get Makindye and bring the late Nsambu. Go to Nakawa and bring Jabir Bidandi Sali. Go to Rubaga and bring my brother Waswa Rure. Go to Rubaga, the other Rubaga, and bring Damiano Rubega. Then come to the center here, bring who are these? Francis Babu.
Yes.
Francis Babu, Kafume Mukasa. Then go to where else? I think Kawempe. Who was from Kawempe at that time?
We had Savannah that was in Makindye East.
Yes, there was Savannah in Makindye East. Then you had Alintu Mansambu from where I come from in Makindye West. Looking at, let's look at those now. Savannah has gone. Yes, they did their bit. Alintu I beg your pardon. Nsubuga Nsambu went, and Kafume Mukasa went. Just looking at the Kampala of the Kafume Mukasas, the Savannahs, and those others, vis-a-vis now with this Kampala of the Segrinyas and all those others. Let's look at Kampala, because now this is NUP's color. If you look on our map, if you wanted to behave like Americans, we would say the yellow states, or the yellow regions, or the yellow districts and the red districts. You're just looking at the map, because now this is where the NUP has actually entrenched itself, just replacing from FDC to now NUP and stuff like that, and they've done a good job for themselves. Look at that Kampala for the benefit of Kampalans. I'll start with you before I come to Mutota here.
Well, I must say that the other crop of the leaders we had were products of DP. We are products of that principled politics. We are really products of issue-based politics. But now here we find that the current leadership we have is the one that actually has been elected is a product of the hate-mongering, saying that it is our time, because ideally it's not only about dislodging NRM, but also dislodging another, say no, we also have to come to have our own outfit, so that we can perhaps use that to compete for power. So that's why on one side you have one saying I'm pushing for the national leadership. The other one is saying we are pushing to be the major opposition party. So it is something really that was really calculated. And also the way you look at, when you see how the young people really jumped on the bandwagon, they jumped on the NUP bandwagon. It's not that perhaps they are voting, especially in central Uganda or whatever they voted, they are voting out of love, but they are showing some, they are passing some message. It's a vote out of frustration. And especially now during COVID, that most of them were home, they were not going to school, there was no elaborate plan by government. The food was given, but it did not reach. The masks also, they did not arrive. So that situation whereby people really are idle and they don't see government seemingly coming out really to help them. So it is a vote. I can just say that what is happening in some regions, in some places, it's actually a protest vote. That's why you see most ministers falling. Actually, even those we felt that actually should have an easy win, they are falling because of that. They say, look here, we don't feel that really you've done enough, especially during the pandemic.
Mututa, on that particular one.
But you also look at the Kafumbes, the Sebanas, the Sebagalas, and these are property owners in Kampala. So most of them are ushered in leadership because of their history. They are coming from a particular family, they are coming from a particular religion, they are coming from a particular group, a social group. So that people are voting for these guys because they know there's something they have when it comes to protecting the interests in Kampala. But also the issue, because when you look at most, actually almost all of them, the older group are coming either from DP, they are either businessmen or they are Catholics and Muslims, particularly there. But the groups we are looking at today are either people who are coming from school, people who have no jobs in Kampala, people who are doing some business in Kampala. So there is a total transformation and paradigm shift in the leadership from issue and property based to, actually I say empathy.
Exactly, because we have many of these who are tenants.
Exactly.
Of their tenants.
Yeah. So that these are the leaders who are looking at. But I mean, a leader is a leader anyway. They are now leaders, and we have seen the other group they are also following, which have also been tenants in Kampala. But that is not being a problem. The problem is what is the future now? After this, after you are 23, you have gone into leadership, and then 2 years later on, you are thrown out.
Or even 5 years.
Or even 5 years.
Yes.
Yes, even 5 years.
You can no longer come back as a member of parliament or a chairman of a division or what happens. So that is a big problem. But I think this one can be traced back to a point that you discussed earlier, that you have the youth who are not being mentored. We can take an example of Tanzania, for example. Most of these presidents actually have gone through the mentoring process.
Actually, the Umoja wa Vijana.
Exactly. So you are given responsibilities from this one to this one, preparing you for a bigger office. And tomorrow, when they identify a leader, you are going to be the president, and you become a president. You don't have to come from a rich family, you don't have to come from somewhere, but as long as you have the qualities they are seeing you, in you will be able to be a leader. We also saw this in Kenya when KANU was still popular government. The current president of Kenya is a result of that.
Okay.
Through the youth mentoring from the political system. And actually, I know the just ex-president of Tanzania was also as a result of that. Now, the problem, the movement has a problem of not keeping in touch with the youth, of not mentoring this youth. I know and I appreciate that people who have come through the youth systems and have become leaders in the movement, including Minister
Frank Tumwebaze, Bahati, David Bahati, and quite a number of those. Yeah.
But you know, these are exceptional cases. We can say they were also self-made. But we don't have a system of following up. You talked about the dandisalis. These people were working with youth then, who finally became men, but there was no political future for them. In fact, you have heard some of them saying they have been using us, they have used us. So that using us was not maybe a bad idea, but that usage could not be quantified, could not be sustained, and could not be directed. That at one point people lost direction, and they didn't know what to do and where to go. You go to the chairman says, maybe I'll go and see someone. And that is why most of these youth, when you talk to them, they are telling you, we cannot meet the Secretary General. We cannot see the chairman of our party. We cannot see someone of our party. So the frustration sends this youth to whoever can help them, and that's the way the anger was seeing among the youth. So I think it's also a good time for the youth, for the movement, not only the movement, but whichever political party, because we have seen this happen across the board, whichever political party there is, to have a program for the youth who to be trained. We hear of people like the Ndugu Rugunda, people like the Governor Bank of Uganda, people like who are products of the UPC youth programs, the National Youth Service. It means there was a program of preparing leaders, so
inducting them,
at whichever level, at least you have a leader. But these people who are, when you see now movements coming up, a person pops from somewhere, he's not directed on what to do, how to behave as a leader, what to do, why do you subscribe to this political party, and what is your future in this? That one becomes a problem, and I think it's a problem across the board.
Well, I want to thank you so much, gentlemen, because I'm trying to look into the National Talent Center. But just before we go to the National Talent Center to get the next provisional announcement there, we'll go back to Sharon Chomjisha still to give us more updates. We'll come to you, Sharon Chomjisha. Okay, Ms. Sharon is just trying to find position where she is because we need to get this update from her, and to just let you know that at 5 o'clock we will also say we will pave way for the Kiswahili team. Now the Kiswahili team will come to give us those updates again as they also prepare for the next provision announcements that will be coming on, and this will be the 5th provisional announcement from the National Talent Center. Now what the Talent Center reads to us is what is a final and authentic. Back to you, Sharon, where you are. Can I hear you? Sharon, I am only waiting for you before I exit. I am waiting for you, Sharon. Are you ready to speak to me? Are you ready to give us the updates, Sharon? Oh. Okay, I think Sharon is failing to come through to us. We just wanted to hear from you because Sharon has those latest updates. We want to know whether there have been any final declarations from you. We just spoke to you a while ago, and we thought you were ready to get to us. Gentlemen, time is running out, and actually has run out. Let me just say your final remarks as we also pave for Team Kiswahili. Akol.
Now, my final remark is that the final results at presidential level are not going to be any different from the performance of MPs. Actually, where a party has more MPs, it means that
hello,
we need.
Okay, Sharon, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How are you?
Yes, yes. Good evening, Sharon. Where are you standing right now?
I am at Kololo Airstrip, which is the Kampala district polling station. You may call it that, and well, there's been different accounting or votes for different candidates from the 5 divisions of Kampala. So right now, Sonyo Joe was declared winner for Nakawa West, Balimwezo for Nakawa East. Mr. Muhammad Sedeko as well was declared winner, and we had entered or had gone in for Muhammad Segirinya. Now he's standing for Kawempe North. And well, there have been some queries and the fights here and there, and the police actually had to come in to help.
Okay, isn't the situation calm? Are you trying to say the situation is not calm in Kololo where you are?
Well, it wasn't calm a few minutes ago. What happened is that the returning officer from that polling station actually said that he got some DR forms, but some others weren't given to him. So while the agents for Segirinya Muhammad at the polling stations made sure that they took pictures of the DR forms that they got from all these 9 polling stations that they're talking about. So in the process, they do not understand how they're now asking them to go and open the boxes again to see maybe if they have the DR forms that they didn't in the first place. That's what ticked off most of his supporters, and many people were actually trying to fight. There's actually a fracas that the police and some military had to come and separate.
Who are they fighting against? Are they fighting against themselves? Is this how painful it is? Who are they trying to fight against?
It is Segirinya Muhammad supporters that are not contented with what the EC is communicating. Because EC asked if they could go back to the ballot boxes, open them again,
Sharon?
Count again.
Sharon?
The ballots that are inside here.
Sharon? You're rushing us through. You have all this time. Please speak to us calmly and gently. Are you saying Segirinya has finally lost it? Is that what you're saying?
At some point, everyone finally lost it. Mostly the people who are supporters of Segirinya Muhammad, and he's standing for Kawempe North Member of Parliament. So what happened is that the returning officer came through and said that he is sure that he didn't get some of the DR forms to make an actual count and know who is the overall winner. So what happened is that many of his supporters who are actually literally occupying the whole tent were very discontented with that, and they started to fight. But fight for the right of how can we vote, do our civic duty and right, and you are trying to manipulate so that you can get votes for somebody else. Now they are also not sure who the AC is supporting or anything like that, because that is what they are allegedly saying. But they are saying that the numbers of the polls are not really totaling up to what they had at the polling stations before the DR forms were brought to Kololo Police Center.
Has the returning officer declared anybody winner for Kawempe North as of now?
No, he hasn't.
No,
he hasn't declared anyone. Before he even spoke or even counted, everyone was in his face. Police had to come and actually cordon off the place where the EC is seated to make sure that they execute their duty. And so many people were up and down. The military had to intervene. The police had to intervene. So the resolution that they actually came up with, because even some National Unity Platform leaders had to intervene. For example, Joel Senini was pulled into the tent because everyone who is supportive of Segirinya wasn't contented. Another one was Balimwezo, who also had to step in so that they can keep Segirinya supporters calm.
And how many people are we talking about who are at the center right now? Are there very many people, or they're only those people who are supposed to be there?
In the process, actually, there are different tents where all these people are declared winners. But once we stepped into the tent for Segirinya, for Kawempe North, everyone couldn't even concentrate on who they were announcing. Literally, the fight came to Kampala, Kawempe North tent. So the numbers, of course, were bigger. Media was in their face. Everyone is trying to give a version of the story, but they had to come to a resolution. So Chagani and National Unity Platform spokesperson had to intervene and calm everyone down. But the numbers are quite many because of the attraction. The tent is literally full. And police also had to come and ask to socially distance, which people weren't really listening to.
Okay, finally, how about the others who are alleging, like Babu Cedric Indirima and Margaret Nantongo Zua, who are also saying they are leading or something could have happened? How are they? How are they feeling? Have you heard from them? And are they contented with what is happening there?
So Margaret Zua actually came in the morning. She was at the grounds in the morning. She didn't say much, but she said that some of her supporters were scared, some of them were threatened, and so she wasn't sure about the results. she hasn't really come back. I think since 8 a.m. we haven't seen her at the ground. But we saw Cedric Ndilima, and he was there for a short time. We didn't also see any activity going on, but all of those weren't there by the time they started to announce. Remember that we were here at around, actually very early in the morning. Some people slept here. But, well, the results haven't yet come in, I think, until 1 hour ago.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Sharon Chimjisha. We'll get more updates from you later.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sharon Chimjisha is at Kololo at the Kampala District Returning Office, just right there. And, well, it's Kampala. Let's wait until finally the returning officer declares this to us. But these are things happening. Had you said bye to us? Yes. For now? Yes, Ndugu Mtuta. Just bye to us, then we switch to Kiswahili.
Yeah, like I said, I think Kampala, there's been, of course, all efforts by the movement to reclaim Kampala. And this time I think it has not worked as anticipated. But still, at least there has been an improvement in the performance of the president in Kampala as compared to the last time. In other words, the message to the president, look, we love you, but not maybe the people
that you give to us.
Exactly.
We'll find time also and discuss Chiwanda's Buganda, Buganda ya Museveni or something. You learned something called
Buganda from 7.
Buganda from 7. Yeah, we'll get to that and get to Buganda from 7 and several others. But of course, when we look at the feed that is coming through from the National Tally Center, we can see the preparedness just right there for the diplomats, members of the press, the different stakeholders who are at the Tally Center, because the promise from Justice Byabakama Mjenyi was that at 5 o'clock he will be giving us another update of the provisional results. And as you can see, a beehive of activities happening just right there. And very shortly, they will be reading to us these provisional results. We thank you so much, and just promise that we will come back again later in the night to still go through what is happening. But for now, we'll take you to our Kiswahili studios, and they will, of course, usher us to the National Tally Center to get that provisional result. Thank you so much. My name is Jagen Dasemakola Ziksoka. Stay with us at the election hub. We'll return later in the night. Good evening.